World War II was a proving ground, not just for nations, but for machines. In the heat of battle, the U.S. military turned to a brutal, fire-breathing engine, the Allison V-1710, a V-12 monster built to dominate the skies. But when the war ended, something strange happened. It vanished. Not because it failed, but because it was replaced, scrapped, and quietly forgotten. Or so they thought. What happened next is almost unbelievable. This war-born engine reappeared, not in museums, but in the hands of civilians, hidden under the hoods of homemade hot rods. How did a top-tier military engine end up tearing across salt flats instead of skies? And what does that say about the technology we threw away? This is the shocking truth behind the World War II plane engine that ended up in hot rods, and the forgotten legacy of the Allison V-1710. During the early years of World War II, the United States faced an urgent need for powerful, reliable aircraft engines capable of matching the advanced fighters emerging from Germany and Britain. These weren't your average power plants. They were massive, fire-breathing V-12s built to push fighter planes through the skies at over 400 miles an hour. Enter the Allison V-1710, a V-12 liquid-cooled engine that would become the backbone of several iconic American warplanes. Producing between 1,600 and 2,300 horsepower in its later iterations, the V-1710 powered the P-38 Lightning, early P-51 Mustangs, and P-40 Warhawks, giving pilots the speed and altitude performance they desperately needed in combat. Its cutting-edge design made it a technical marvel for its time, delivering high-speed performance without sacrificing reliability. While the Rolls-Royce Merlin would eventually surpass it in high-altitude performance for later Mustangs, the Allison V-1710 was America's bold answer to the European air threat. A sophisticated, powerful engine that helped define the early air battles of the war. When the guns fell silent and the war was over, the Allison V-1710, a powerhouse that had dominated the skies, faced a fate no one could have imagined. The sudden flood of surplus military planes turned once prized machines into liabilities overnight. Engines that had roared with unstoppable force in the P-38, P-40, and early Mustangs were suddenly labeled obsolete. Stacks of V-1710s sat forgotten in warehouses, rust creeping across their polished surfaces, or worse, they were sold for scrap, destined to be melted down into metal nobody would remember. The very engines that had carried America to victory were abandoned, their glory facing into shadow. The same engine that helped win the skies was now gathering dust, or vanishing forever in the shredder. As the smoke of World War II cleared and the world turned its attention to rebuilding, a new kind of frontier was quietly opening on the sun-baked deserts and salt flats of America. While most of the country was moving on from the machines that had dominated the skies, a few visionaries saw something different, a sleeping giant waiting to roar again. These were the hot rodders, the daredevils of the dry lake beds, the pioneers of the Bonneville salt flats, and many of them were veterans of the very war that had created the Allison V-1710. They had seen what these engines could do at 20,000 feet, carrying fighter planes like the P-38 Lightning and the early P-51 Mustang through dogfights that would become legend. To them, the V-1710 wasn't just a piece of machinery. It was a legend, a mechanical symphony of power, precision, and raw potential. And so, they began to collect what most of the world had discarded. Warehouses full of engines once celebrated as war heroes were now abandoned, gathering dust or headed for scrap, became treasure troves. For a few $100s, sometimes less, they would claim a V-1710 stripped of its plane, stripped of its history, yet brimming with untapped fury. These hot rodders were not content with ordinary engines, ordinary horsepower, or ordinary speed. They had grown up in a world shaped by war, by machines that pushed men and metals to their limits. and they wanted to bring that same spirit of innovation and daring to the roads, the lakes, and the flats. What they did next bordered on madness. The unthinkable became reality. They dropped a fighter plane engine into a car. Not a car built for comfort or elegance, but a stripped-down rod designed to handle, or at least attempt to handle, the insane power of a machine made to dominate the skies. The result was something almost mythic. Cars with brutal torque that could fling a driver back in the seat as if he'd been catapulted from a cannon. Wild, ear-shattering exhaust notes that sounded like thunder trapped in metal, and speed so extreme, it was almost surreal. Names that would become legendary in this subculture soon emerged. Art Arfrons, the man behind the Green Monster, transformed his dreams into steel and fire. With a V-1710 under the hood, the Green Monster didn't just drive, it lunged, it crept, it screamed across the salt like a mechanical beast liberated from its cage. Each turn of the crank, each press of the pedal, was a tribute to the engine's original brilliance, but also a rebellion against the ordinary, a declaration that the V-1710's life was far from over. Not far behind were the Zetas brothers, running the famous SoCal Speed Shop, experimenting with their own V12-powered creations. Their projects in the 50s and 60s pushed boundaries that conventional mechanics had deemed impossible. They weren't just building cars, they were reimagining what an engine could be, transforming a war machine into a machine of pure adrenaline, one that could tear across desert plains or rocket down a salt flat at speeds that flirted with danger that defied logic. Photographs and footage from the era tell the story in ways words almost can't capture. Stripped-down rods, barely more than a chassis and four wheels, swallow engines that seem impossibly large, their polished aluminum and tangled plumbing dominating every frame. V-1710s stretch from firewall to firewall, their long V-shaped banks bristling with exhaust stacks, carburetors, and wiring. Mechanics and drivers stand beside them, dwarfed by the sheer scale, faces smeared with oil, eyes gleaming with anticipation and reverence. And when the engines fired for the first time, the sound was cataclysmic. A low guttural growl that surged into a scream, echoing across the dry lake beds, rattling windows, and sending birds flying from nearby trees. This wasn't merely horsepower, it was history reborn, a reminder of what these engines had done, and what they could still do when wielded by human ingenuity and courage. The performance was nothing short of legendary. These hot rods didn't just move, they lunged, they tore, they defied expectations. The V-1710 produced torque so immense that gearboxes groaned under the strain, frames flexed like rubber, and tires smoked in protest. Speedometers often couldn't keep up. Top-end velocity became a hazy blur as drivers strapped themselves into what was essentially mechanical rockets. And yet, despite the chaos, there was a strange beauty to it. A controlled anarchy where engineering skill met raw ambition. Every V-1710-powered hot rod was unique, a one-of-a-kind testament to the men who refused to let the engine's story end in warehouses and junkyards. By the late 1950s, the revival had become a movement. Enthusiasts across the country were scoring military surplus lots, swap meets, and scrapyards, hunting for V-1710s to resurrect. It wasn't just about speed. It was about preserving a piece of history and proving that the same machine that had helped win the skies could also dominate the roads and the salt. Each restoration was an act of homage and experimentation, combining the precision of wartime engineering with the creativity and audacity of post-war America. Engines that had once been abandoned were now celebrated, their roaring V12s demanding attention, respect, and awe wherever they went. In retrospect, the V-1710's second life is almost as remarkable as its first. From the skies over Europe and the Pacific to the dry, sun-blasted lake beds of California and Utah, the engine's story transformed from wartime heroics to post-war legend. Art Afron's Green Monster and the Zedia's SoCal Speed Shop builds were more than just hot rods. They were symbols of ingenuity, rebellion, and the unyielding desire to push the limits. Each engine carried the ghosts of the past and the dreams of the future, proving that even when the world has moved on, brilliance can refuse to be forgotten. And as these V-1710s roared to life, they reminded everyone who heard them that history is not static. It is alive. It can be reimagined, and sometimes it comes back with a vengeance. So if the fans were so in love with these juggernauts and the power they were creating was exceptional, why did they not actually catch on with the rest of the world? On paper, the Allison V-1710 was a V12 powerhouse, capable of producing up to 2,300 horsepower in later versions. Yet in practice, it was a machine that demanded respect and a very particular kind of devotion. Building or maintaining one was a gamble few could afford. Parts were rare, often salvaged from military surplus, or painstakingly custom fabricated by hand. Every bolt, gasket, and component had to be just right. A small mistake in assembly or tuning could result in catastrophic failure. The engine's complexity was a nightmare even for skilled mechanics. Its twin overhead camshafts, intricate cooling channels, and high-performance supercharger required constant monitoring, adjustments, and precision tuning to avoid overheating or worse. And overheating was always a real threat. The V-1710 was a liquid-cooled engine designed for fighter planes flying at tens of thousands of feet, where the thin air helped dissipate heat. On the ground, in the heat of a desert or a racetrack, that same engine could boil over in minutes if not properly managed, making it far from forgiving. Most versions of the V-1710 were never street legal. The sheer size and weight of the engine made installation in standard chassis extremely difficult. Many hot rodders and custom builders had to completely strip down a car, reinforcing the frame, upgrading suspension, and adding massive cooling systems just to hold and control the V12. Even then, steering, brakes, and tires were often pushed to their absolute limits. On public roads, such a machine was not just impractical, it was downright dangerous. The throttle response alone could launch a vehicle like a cannon, and the braking systems of the era were rarely sufficient to bring it safely to a stop. Noise and exhaust emissions were another barrier. The engine's raw, unfiltered roar could shatter eardrums, and there were no mufflers or catalytic converters capable of taming its fury. Local traffic authorities weren't banning the engine out of malice. They were simply enforcing rules that these engines could never comply with. In short, the Allison V-1710 was built for high-altitude combat, not stop-and-go city streets or everyday commuting. Today, the V-1710 is more than just an engine. It's a symbol of relentless ambition, a reminder that greatness can never truly be forgotten. The roar of a V12 on the Salt is not just sound, it's history reborn, in a tribute to those who dared to unleash it once more. Tell us what you think about such projects in the comments below. For more stories like these, subscribe to our channel. See you soon.